Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Ita. It's such a pleasure to be here and to be hosting you today. And we're going to be having analysts and guests join us shortly as we take the show this morning. We will be having a conversation that I believe that affects everyone from time to time. We have people who feel one way or the other. Uh, I believe that this show is probably going to address a lot of concerns out there, especially when it comes to mental health issues, concerns about physical well being, mental and emotional well being, and of course, professional well being as well. On the show, we would like to keep it simple, straightforward, so that we can learn. Please understand that we're streaming from Lagos, Nigeria to West Africa to Africa and the entire world. As we stream, we also expect people that join us, both tribe members, faithful people, and of course other people as well, to please tell us their location, tell us their name, where you're joining from. And if you're first time, please do let us know. We always have a bell of blessing for the first timers. And please ask your questions as we have the show as an interactive one. And if you have contributions, also please do not hesitate to make your contributions. I'm going to be bringing up Dr. Motola, and I'm also going to bring up Fee at the same time as we welcome them on the show. Good morning, guys. How are you today?
Good morning. I am great and you.
Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Fantastic. I remember Dr. Motola was at a conference and she literally brought the roof down yesterday. You know, she was just on fire, 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 fire. Well done, Dr. Motola. You
Thank
know,
you. Thank you.
making continental impact. You know, you're a great person. We are proud to be associated with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you blushing?
Yes.
You're blushing, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
All right. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. All right. Let's just go straight to the news. I know that the conversation of today is one that really a lot of people are eager and waiting to hear what we have to say. Or while we try to do that, I know that the regular thing is to talk about the conversations around the news and the headlines in education space. All right. So the first one seems to be a celebratory one. It says the PhD journeys of a 71-year-old grandma and an Okada rider. Dr. Moto, do you want to say something about that?
Yes, I'll say congratulations to her. I believe that education is not just for young people, and I'm happy that she was able to fulfill the dream that she had of being able to be to hold a PhD, and I hope that she's able to yeah, I'm excited for her and what is in stock for her. And I think they said it's even in French, which is wonderful. So the possibility are endless in terms of what she can do for sure with that PhD. And yes, just because she's retired does not mean that that is the end of her life. Like she reminds me of John Maxwell, that is, I think, 84, 87 right now, and is still going. So life does not end at 50 or 60 or 70. The possibility are endless for her and every older person. So this should encourage old people not to think that, oh, after they retire their life is over. They can still live their dream or a second dream or third dream that they may have. So congratulations to her.
All right, thank you for that. And we have HND BSc dichotomy, attempting to balance the discriminatory policy. This news is coming from Guardian. Let's start with Finn and then we'll come back to Dr. Motola. Finn, what's your take on this?
The debate is up again about university system and the polytechnic, and I don't know why HND and BSc have been pitched against each other. They really should not be pitted against each other because like we have said a number of times and we have repeatedly said that It's not a battle of the best. It's not a battle of muzzles or showing who is superior. It's not about downplaying one degree or one institution over the other. It's about understanding why these institutions exist, and what their roles are in the society, and um, what they're supposed to contribute. So, discriminatory policy, if there are policies that pit these two degrees and these institutions against each other, then there needs to be a review of those policies. Those that are the policymakers, excuse me, the policymakers need to go back to understand why these institutions exist and remove every clause that is discriminatory in the policies that either set them up or that guide their running, or that have to do with their graduates in the workplace.
All right. Thank you very much for that. We, Dr. Motala, do you want to add to that, or we just move to the next one?
Yes, like I think that it's a good step in the right direction. And I think, yes, there's value. Not everybody can have a BSc, and that is okay. But I think it's high time that they prioritize HND and not see it as something that is not worthy of celebration, or to the regard that they hold BSc as well. So I hope that that will translate to increase in salary for holders of that, and better benefit for them as they continue their professional work.
Fantastic. Let's move to another news. And it's interesting to note that we have several aspects and reality that we need to look at, especially in the recent news.
You're breaking up really bad. We can.
We are having the news pandemic effect. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's now clearer because we couldn't hear anything you were saying. It was just in and out, in and out. But now we can hear you.
Hello, can you
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes, yes, yes.
hear me? Yeah, so
Yes, we can. Yes, yes.
Dr. Motolak, do you want to read the news and analyze it?
You want me to continue with the headlines for the day?
Bauchi Poly, thank you.
Oh, okay, about that. Yes, yes, yes. So, so the Bauchi Poly laments pandemic
So,
effects, put losses at 200 million. Can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Hello? Yeah, so I think
Yes, I can.
I am not surprised, and they should not be lamenting. They're taking a reactive response instead of a yeah, if they're reacting to the situation when they're supposed to be responding to the situation. So for me, I think it's they should not be lamenting. They should have pivoted months ago. Like, in the pandemic is even this is like the post-pandemic, in my own opinion, the season we are in. So they should not be lamenting over what they lost. They had the opportunity to pivot, to make their online course delivery better, so that they can get more investment in. What did they do? The question is, if we were to do a list of what they did versus what they did not do, the list of what they did not do is going to be longer than what they did. So I'm not surprised. It's like, it's that quote that says insanity is doing the same thing and expecting the same result. So if they didn't do anything to get ready for it to shift, to accommodate the loss that occurs as a result of not being able to meet in person, then yes, this is going to be the result that they're going to get. So instead of lamenting, the question is, what are they going to do differently? How are they going to ensure that they recover and that they are able to prepare so that if something like this occurs again, it will not leave them standing and with this wide gap of loss as they are claiming that they lost as a result of that. So it is not a pandemic. It is about the system and the structure in place. And once that is not sorted out, then the same thing will keep happening. So they should not just lament. They should come up with a strategy and figure out what they can do better, opportunities within. We're talking about problems some days ago, and yes, there was a lot of problem that there in it were opportunities, but they didn't see the opportunity and they didn't maximize that, and now they are lamenting that they lost money. Well, they can make it back, but they have to do the work. But if they don't do it, nothing is going to change.
Thank you so much for that. Finny, do you want to say something?
It sounds
What
like
about you?
Bauchi is taking the victim route, and I'm wondering why they feel like they're the only ones who lost money. Countries lost money. Global economies were affected by the pandemic, and it's not news to say that they lost 200 million naira. What they should be saying going forward is, this is what we have on ground to mitigate the situation. These are the things that we're cutting down on. These are the things that they should, if at all they want to make news with the pandemic, then they should be putting forward proactive steps of responding to this situation they have found themselves in. Every one of us is affected. Every one of us world over felt and is still feeling the impact of the pandemic one way or the other. But we don't all run to the newspapers to say, oh, I lost this, I lost that. Everybody is picking up from where they are. They're renovating, they're reinventing, and they are making progress. So Bauchi Poly really needs to get off this. They probably needed some time to vent and let off steam. Yeah, that is over. Now get on the grind and get the work going.
Fantastic. Very quickly, we have what you can see on the screen now. UNILAG confirms COVID-19 cases. Says affected student is in isolation. In fact, affected students isolated.
It feels like universities opened up a little too early. The Nigerian economy and the Nigerian society itself opened up a little too early. So we've had people hold parties like there is nothing like COVID going on. I remember wanting to board interstate vehicle, and I was talking to the person in charge and talking about distancing, and he said, oh, is there still COVID? That was last month. Is there still COVID? I told him, yes, there is. So for I don't think we're surprised that UNILAG is, well, I'm not surprised that UNILAG is recording cases of confirmed cases of students. And if we go around other institutions in the country that have opened up and called students back, the situation is likely going to be the same. For us to beat this thing, what we do, or what we have been doing with COVID is taking the model that other countries use. Oh, they had a first wave, we also claim the first wave. They had a second wave, we also claim the second wave. In fact, at some point we had something circulating about Nigeria being in the fourth wave already, but now we're talking about third wave. So we just take the models of those countries, and it's like an anchor kind of thing. Also, they are opening back their beaches. So yes, we too can reopen churches. And now Lagos is even having to shut down and minimize the number of worshippers that are in worship places. So really, we need to sit up and realize that this is a pandemic, and a pandemic is not child's play. It's not something where you just used to make a statement and say, oh yes, everybody's recording numbers. We also are recording numbers, or trying to refute, oh, it's not happening, it's not true. We really need to sit up on this. Let students go back home. They can. It's time for the education system to get on its toes, to put on its running shoes, and find how can we make this thing work, even if probably we have to close our institutions for 2 years. Does it mean that students will not continue to learn? No. How do we make this work? That's what we should be talking about, while we are also looking out for the health and for the well-being of everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And of course, the follow-up news is Delta COVID-19 variant. UNILAG shut down student hostel indefinitely. I don't know how this is valid, that this is the Delta variant, but I know that the fact that you have COVID doesn't make it the Delta variant. Do you understand?
Yeah, that is us just copying the models, what's exist. Oh, because there's a COVID-19 Delta variant somewhere existing already. Nigeria has accepted it, and now suddenly we are in that variant, we're in that hemisphere. I really do not know if they have done research and it tells them that the variant that is out now is the Delta variant, or whatever variant it is, whatever it, they need to sit up and ensure that this thing is nipped, and that the incidences are reduced.
Okay. Welcome, Safety Chick. Good morning. How are you today?
This one you're speaking phonetics for me. Good morning,
Ah,
Mr. Rotimi.
I also
Good
noticed it
morning.
all. I was like, wait, what happened?
you guys, I think you are hearing differently. This is how I
No,
talk now.
No,
no,
Dr.
This is how I
Motola
There
talk.
was an
edit.
extra. There was an extra
There
that
was
we
no
cannot
extra
do.
now.
There was, there was, there
Safety Chick, is it? So I'm your target this morning. 1-0, 1-0. I said, how are you today? Is that phone? That's not phone now. I didn't even I didn't even drag it.
Hmm.
We
Also, like,
share.
Don't
it's not my
worry,
fault.
we that we have
Your
like sharp
your
ears,
Niger your Niger
we
accent
can
has
hear the
refused to leave
extra.
me. Omotola, it's not my fault now. That your tongue has refused to twist.
Oh goodness, no, it's going to stay like this forever.
Good morning, Mr. Rotimi, Dr. Motola, and Honorable Fee, and of course,
When you
our
listen,
amazing listeners. I'm happy to be here this morning.
Yeah,
Good
so
morning.
we have so many headlines. We have the COVID headline, we have the shutdown headline. We have, in fact, our headline today, about 3 or 4, is around the issue of COVID-19. Well, it is what it is. Well, we need to talk about something. I think we need to go to a conversation of the day. Let me just have the grant for the day from Dr. Motola, and then we'll have that. Dr. Motola, the grant for the day.
okay, so the grant of today is from Skill Family Foundation. It is rolling, meaning that you can also apply anytime, and you can get up to 1 second. I'm trying to post it. Okay, between $2,500 to $7,500. You can use this to either work on vocational and trade education, entrepreneurship, economic services and development, workforce preparation, and job readiness, as well as job creation. Those that can apply are nonprofit, and the funding can be used for project, program, training, capacity building. And this is for people across all continents. So Africa, Asia, Oceanic, Caribbean, Central America, South America, and all over. And feel free to go to the website also to check for more information, and definitely shoot your shot. Thank you.
And while you're at that, I think you need to remind them about the grant
Yes,
webinar.
yes. On Saturday, we will love to host you and have you for an impactful 3 hours at least, to help you to decide if you're grant ready, what you need to have in place. And this is both for individuals, for nonprofits, for business owner. There are so many, even researchers, academians as well, even schools, whether you're a secondary school owner or administrator or even the university, there are so many possibilities, and we want to help you create the roadmap and the blueprint to get you from not being sure to getting grant ready to submitting your application and winning some grant money as well. So please check out the website in the, I'm sure you're in the flyer from Professor Rotimi's page, and come and join us. We are really excited and we have a lot packed for you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are on the Good Morning Education Show, and we have an interesting conversation today. And the topic is simply, do you feel like giving up? And I know that this is something that everyone will have something to talk about. Everyone will have something to say. Definitely. It's that kind of conversation that one way or the other affects everyone. You know, what do we do when we feel like giving up? Do we feel like giving up? What can we describe that feeling as? What are the triggers to such experiences? And we've heard of so many stories. We've heard of so many stories. Some are happy stories or happy endings, some are not so happy or delightful in nature. But let's talk about it. Someone out there is listening, someone out there is watching, and they might feel like giving up. What would you have to say to someone who feels like giving up? I start with you, Dr. Motola.
I will say don't. I know it sounds simple, but yes, don't, even if you feel like it. And the example that is so recent and that I think I went through was during my PhD program. There were so many reasons why I should have given up. That was the first time I was like 4 months pregnant with my first child when I started my PhD. I didn't know, like, I didn't have friend, I didn't have anybody. My husband was still living in Nigeria. I didn't have any family member in new city, a new state that I've never lived in. When I moved back to the United States, I had issues with like so many things that could go wrong went wrong during that period. But in spite of everything, I saw it through. And what really helped me was the vision that I had for my life, the reason. I like this exercise, like it's like your 5 whys. So it's not enough to just say, okay, why do you want to do something? Then ask yourself again, why again? Why again? Why again? If you can come up with at least 5 whys, like it will help you to sustain that the strength you need to push through the period of like challenges and problems and the things that might come up as obstacles in your way towards the desired end that you want. And so that experience, like going through the PhD program and just having all kind of thing happening all at once and still being able to push through and pull through. So I believe that whatever it is, I may not know your exact situation, but remember your why. It's so important. If you can list your why, and sometimes you might have to even paste it in front of a mirror or something that you see every day when you wake up or before you go to sleep. As you remember, this is why I'm doing this. This is why it matters that I must get through this. And knowing that you can definitely get to the other end. And when you do get to the other end, it's going to be wonderful, because it's better to have it now and not need it than for you to now need it and not have it. So irrespective of whatever it is and the circumstances surrounding why you think you should give up on whatever dream or goals that you have, remember your why. Do the 5 why exercise and ask yourself why and why it matters, and keep it in a place that you can see, so that when your encouragement deep, you can use that to help you to move forward.
All right, thank you so much for that. I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna ask Safety Chick. So, Dr. Motola says remembering your why is actually what's not making you feel like giving up. What do you do?
If remembering your why is what makes you feel like giving up, then
Yeah,
what should you do?
yes.
So the reason many times people feel want to give up is maybe they've looked at the thing from all angles, and it just looks like there is no hope. Like everything is overwhelming. It looks impossible, you know. And considering the peculiar situation you're in at that time, it really does look impossible. So I will say get help, because sometimes in the course of speaking about it with someone else, right, talking through it, the person, because you are in the box, you may not see a way out, but somebody who is outside the box, can see some things that you may not see because you are overwhelmed with all the challenges that you are facing in that time. So it's important to get help. And sometimes something even as little as just talking through it with someone, it helps to relieve um, some of it. And of course, if you're speaking to the right person and the person makes you know that you are not crazy, that almost everyone goes through that phase, where you feel like giving up, but then they find the reason to go on, and then, inspires and encourages you, and also now makes you to see possible options, things that they may not be perfect, but there are ways to ease the pain, to alleviate that stress you are going through at that point in time. So usually such glimmers of hope, can help someone in that phase. So I would say get help. Don't try to do everything by yourself. Don't try to solve your problem by yourself, because you can't even help yourself. You already feel like giving up. So don't be afraid to ask for help. I know that in this part of the world, we don't really have that culture of,
Thank you so
of
much.
speaking out
I love
maybe
the way you
to
said it. We need to
go ahead, sir.
yes. So let's okay. So I said I love the way you stress the word get help, because sometimes that's the only way you can get sorted. There's always a room where no matter who you are, no matter what you are, no matter what you know, no matter what you've done, there's always room for help. And like you said, the person feeling down or the person feeling difficulty is not able to see the length and breadth all the time because he's already feeling funny. So
Mm-hmm.
getting help is a very critical thing.
Yes.
And that's going to take me to ask who's out there to get help in. Because sometimes it looks like a lot of us are adverse to reaching out for help. We suffer alone, and sometimes we lose so much because we refuse to get help. Over to you, Fee.
I think this is an instructive and a timely topic, especially at a time like this for educators, where we're ending a school session, a term and a session, and many have just been trudging through, especially because of the pandemic and the hit that individuals have taken in their finances, and just feel, look, I don't think I really can continue this. I want to step down and step away from it. And for us to say, yes, you feel like giving up, but what do you do when you feel like it? Usually we don't reach out for help because of that thing of wanting to appear perfect, wanting to appear like we have it all in control. We have everything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
everybody
You're
wants to
figured out.
show that they're figured out. Everybody wants to show that, oh, I'm doing fine by myself. And so we don't reach out for help. And we need to begin to change that. We need to begin to change that trajectory, because yes, we are here saying you need to reach out for help, but really, is it very easy for us to say, oh yes, I'm reaching out for help, I'm talking to somebody, and I expect that they're going to be able to give me, even if they can't offer solution, can they offer me some comfort, can they offer me some succor at least, without saying, the antidote to hard work is more work, without all of the things that make it sound as if you're lazy, or the fact that I want to take a break here. means that I don't have anything to do with my life, or have you seen so and so person? Do you see what they're doing? Sometimes we think that these things are motivational. Sometimes we think that they are avenues to help people to go to maybe see the a bigger picture. But in the real sense of it, we are putting much more pressure on somebody who already feels like giving up. So what I would say to somebody who feels like giving up is, first of all, take a break. Leave everything and take a break, because you're feeling like giving up because you're overwhelmed. And to add more to that overwhelm is just pushing it. So take a break, take a walk, go take a holiday. It doesn't have to be an expensive holiday. It may mean that you're leaving your house to go to a friend's house to just hang out for a week, just to clear your head and know that, yeah, by the time I come back, I can look at things with a clear head. I can chart a course for myself. I can say, okay, that is when I can even think about what else do I want to do? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Because in is a place where one is overwhelmed, sometimes it's even difficult to remember, why did I start, or where am I going? You just feel like, look, at this point, all I want to do is hands up, hands off, and just take a walk. Let someone else be responsible for me. So yeah, we need to be able to model that. If you talk with me, even if I don't have a solution, you're not going to be hearing your matter and headline news tomorrow. You're not going to be told, oh, you need to do more. You're not going to be told, you're thinking like that because the devil is after you. You're not going to be told, this kind of thinking, there has to be village people low, or you need deliverance. So, no, it's just that you're human and you have gotten to the end of your rope at that point. Step away, take a break, walk away, and then come back to reevaluate the situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. While you were speaking, Shola Olumide joined us and Titi joined us. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone
Good
in the
morning.
house.
Good morning.
Yes.
Welcome.
So I'm going to throw this question at you, Titi. Do you feel like giving up?
Right now, no, but well, I think I'm not sure that there's anybody that has not felt like giving up at one time or the other. Two things come to mind when you choose things that are bigger than you. Then you feel like giving up. So if you've never felt like giving up, it just means that all the things that you've done are within your comfort zone, and that is very worrisome. If you've never stretched your muscles, if you've never stretched your capacity, that's the only time you won't feel like giving up. Every time you stretch your muscles, stretch your capacity, that thought of giving up, like, who sent me? What am I doing here? Why did I think I could do this? But two things that work wonderfully for me is not doing it alone. I found that when you do something with other people, at least two other people, it can never be where three of you are discouraged at the same time. So when you're like, should we, we've not told people, should we cancel this program? We've not really spread, we've not really spread the word too much. It's not too late. You know how it is. People don't yet know about this. Can we cancel? This is good time to drop out now. This is a good time to give up. But when you have two other people, they'll be like, you know what? No, let's do this. When you go and sleep on it, things look better in the morning. So one of the things, as Fini was talking, is that if you've never stretched yourself, that's when you will never feel like giving up. You must stretch yourself. You must do more than you're physically capable of. You must, you must test bigger oceans. Don't be happy in a paddle pool. When you're not doing paddle pool, go to the Olympic size swimming pool. Go and stretch your muscles. Go and be afraid. I think it's important that we do something that is bigger than us, that makes us want to give up. So I'm learning to also be crazy in my dreams. I'm learning to be crazy in my ambitions. But I'm most importantly, I'm not doing it alone. I want to do something crazy this, in October. I told God that just send me the person that will go it with me first, so that I don't give up before I even start. So for me, that's really one of the things. Just going with someone, it just makes the big things seem doable once you have people behind you.
Thank you so much. We've learned from that. Don't do it alone. And of course, if you don't feel like you've ever felt like giving up, probably you need to check your pursuits. You probably have been playing too safe. All right, I like that. I like that angle. Let's ask Olushola Lumide. So, of course, for the people who do feel like giving up or who have ever felt like giving up, right? What's your counsel? What would you say should be the things they should turn to, or better still, what's the remedy?
Thank you. Just like we've heard from our analyst, at one point or other in our lives, we feel like we are down and we needed help. At times, we just need even somebody to pet us or maybe somebody to validate us. Usually, I would tell people, especially the younger generation, that life is not a linear graph. So you don't expect to move from point A to point B on a straight line. There are bends, there are turns. At times there are potholes on the way. And one thing that keeps working for me is that if I quit, then there is no possibility of success. That means if I chose not to go ahead, I failed by default. So I'll keep pushing, I'll keep trying. And I think that is, I will want to say, that's why testimonials can be very great. At times you are down, you are like, am I even doing anything? Does it even worth my time, my energy, money, and what have you? Suddenly somebody just sent a message or put a call through to you and say, oh, so and so, thank you. Like the other time, so place, you are like, you mean you got value? Really? You are turning that in your mind. Suddenly, there is hope. I felt nobody had me. I felt nobody benefited. I was even afraid that I was wasting my time. But from what I have got now, I think somebody is being helped or being encouraged somewhere. So I will say, don't give up. And it's the usual maxim that quitters never win and winners never quit. That would be my counsel.
Thank you so much, sir. And this is very important, that we also should understand that giving up giving up or feeling like giving up, sometimes there are indicators to some things that we might need to also take time to treat or look at. Especially when people get to we call it execution ceiling. You have certain fears, and you have certain, limitation in sometimes we call it limiting beliefs or limiting patterns. When you get close to such things, the body sometimes, in the bid of preserving us, tends to create shutdown effects on us, and that's where you have these options of, I just feel like giving up. You're not getting to understand or communicate. So sometimes lack of comprehension of what you're even doing or what you're about to do can create that distaste in our mouth and in our lives. So we must be mindful of that. We must be mindful of that. So still talking about the topic, do you feel like giving up? I'm going to ask Dr. Motola. We've noticed that a lot of times the problems or the challenges that people face is almost difficult for them to share without them having to get to a place of being vulnerable. I've had situations where sometimes I've had people who wanted some help, and then they'll ask in the third party, I can say, what if somebody has this kind of challenge? What do you think the person should do? Or if you have a friend and the friend the friend is going through this and this. Sometimes I have to come straight to say, who is the friend? Because some people don't ask their questions directly. What do you advise in this situation, Dr. Mokoa?
I think we have to understand that there is power in vulnerability, and I know and they have one of the most loved people for this is like this lady Brené Brown, Brenw Brown. So go check her out on YouTube or whatever. But to the question, I think it's okay to not be okay, because if we don't get to the bottom of it, we are not going to break through and break out. And I remember it had the other analysts have said, especially in the kind of setting that we grew up in Nigeria, how they expect you to just really keep up this face and these marks of everything is okay. I can do everything by myself. I don't need help. And I realized that that is when breakdown happen. And I have experienced that where I felt like, oh, I can't afford to tell people what is going on, and I just have to keep it, I just have to be strong alone for things. And now, years and years later, I'm seeing the negative effect of that, and I'm working through that. So if you need help, don't be afraid. If you cannot even afford the professional help of maybe a therapist or a counselor, find a good friend. Whether you like it or not, you have somebody that cares for you, whether it's or even sometimes talking to stranger might be the solution too. So I'm like, it's easier for some people to talk to stranger than to talk to their friend. But know that there is power in vulnerability, and if you don't take the time to address the deep root issue, it will show up later, and then it will disrupt your life in a way that you might not want, and you might hinder your progress. So don't see vulnerability as something that is bad, and that it's something that you should be ashamed of, and that is something that you should hide from. When we put light into darkness, it we're able to solutions emerge and things happen. The same thing with us and our emotions and the things that we've gone through and walked through. You shine the light on those issues that are troubling you, that are not helping you to be the best you can be. And once you shine the light and bring somebody else's perspective in, like Ogochi said, if you're in the picture, you might not be able to see the frame, but somebody else watching the frame that is outside of the picture can guide you and help you and mold you to where you need to be and show you the way. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Asking for help is a powerful thing. It doesn't make you weak, it doesn't make you less strong. And I highly encourage you to try it.
Thank you very much. Olatunde Adebayo says it is ideal we understand the triggers and mirror the disempowered thought. Fantastic. Now, following what you said, I want to ask Safety Chick because, I noticed that, and also taking a cue from Finn's comment, I noticed that sometimes people are not too sensitive. They are not too sensitive. I love the way you said it is okay sometimes not to be okay. Because you look around, and trust me, if you look at things like social media, it's sometimes you're questioning yourself that is it only me just having a bad day? Is it only me just having, because everything out there is showing like you're the only one in the world that misery is taking place for or happening to. So Gochi, how do we help to, how can people be more sensitive? Because you just can't tell. Of course, not everyone will come and think. Gochi, are you there?
Okay, so you were breaking up. But I gathered from your question, you're asking that because when people see it seems like everybody is fine, and then they're the ones that they're not fine. Yeah, so you're asking that how can they manage? Is that what you asked? Because you were
I'm talking about through.
you're talking about
How to be a bit more sensitive and accommodating. I'm talking about how people can learn to be more sensitive and accommodating.
okay, that's so that for people that are having some issues and challenges, right? Okay, so before I
Yeah.
would even answer that question, I would just start with saying that I think that more people really need to begin to have a strong sense of identity, an identity that is not moved by what you see on social media, in the sense that you can't compare your life with someone's highlight reel. People are only showing on social media what they choose to show at that point in time. So you do not have the full picture. And because you don't have the full picture, it is not ideal for you to now castigate your entire life based on just a picture or a short video that you have just seen. So that's it's really important for more people to have that strong identity. I think a lot of people don't really even know who they are, and because you don't even know that, it's a problem. So you are swayed, because if you have a strong sense of identity, even when those things come at you, you can stop and ask yourself, okay, yes, I feel somehow right now seeing this post, but I know that this is just a snapshot of this person's life. This is not the entire picture. Have the hard conversations with yourself. Then also to the question, which is, how can people become more, should I say, sensitive? I think that it's emotional intelligence, really, and it's something that the individual has to desire to do. Nobody's going to force you to improve on your emotional intelligence. You've got to desire as a human being to show more empathy, to be more compassionate to other people. And when you think like that, it also affects the kind of things you do. So, for example, you've had a fantastic year in business, you've gotten grants, you've gotten partnerships with government, you've done this, you've done that. It seems like your name is everywhere, and then someone comes to say hello to you at an event. It's like, well done, no, you've been doing so well. And you know that this person has not it has been a rough year for the person, right? That's not the time for you to start saying, in fact, another email just dropped right now, $5,000. No, no, you don't do no, you don't do that. If they even ask you, so what is going on? Wisdom determines that you just say, we thank God, so how are you doing? How can I help? You leave your own understand that particular unique situation you are in and try to be accommodating of this other person, so that they leave that conversation not feeling like their own has finished in life. They leave that conversation knowing that there is hope. They leave that conversation knowing that, okay, things might not look okay right now, but it is going to be okay eventually. So I think that emotional intelligence is one skill that everybody should have, and it is something that even beginning now in our schools, we must begin to have all these games and fun exercises in class that help children begin to grow their emotional intelligence muscle, because these are things that they grow in the course of usage. You learn in the course of doing. And if we're able to, I'm always talking about grooming the next generation. I believe in it so much. If the young ones, they start growing with it, it becomes, but they grow to become more sensitive adults. And for the adults, please, you've got to really be intentional. And if you know you don't have it, there is nothing that you want to learn in this life that cannot be learned. One, you can pray and ask God to help you. He would help you. Ask, He would help. And then two, you do personal study. How can you be more compassionate? How can you show more empathy? How can you be more, aware of other people's needs, and not just be quick to just start talking and tooting your own horn without knowing that maybe there is a sadness behind the smile in front of you.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna change a bit in our direction, and I'm gonna bring this to Titi, and I like to find out. Sometimes feeling like giving up is almost like something that happens at the point of grief, or almost like coming out of grief, right? So it's almost like a decision people arrive at. Let me pack it up. You know, and I kind of have had experiences, personal experiences as well. But I'd like you to talk more about dealing with grief as a panacea to avoiding this giving up thing. Titi, could you please share on that?
Honestly, as you were asking the question, what was going through my imagine setting up a business. You're meant to start your training. You've gotten the laptops, everything ready for the people, and then you come the day before you're meant to start, and the office gets burnt. That's like you've lost everything. because it's a lot that happened to a lot of people during the NSAS. People that, I mean, I went to their shop, it was empty, inventory completely empty. You know, in my mind, I sat down and I thought to myself, if I was in their shoes, what will I do? Will I not give up? I'm telling you, I sat down there, just thought about, imagine that you're selling electronics, you have TVs and all those things. They emptied your shop. Some of this inventory, maybe you even got them on credit. Would you not want to give up? It takes a lot. You must be connected to a different source. You must surround yourself with people that will bring you out of that despair. You must surround yourself with people that, kind of plant the first seed that will allow you to say, you know what, I can start again. Because I as I put myself in that shoe, I can imagine if someone comes and say, you know what, Titi, take this 100K. I don't know, it might not be anything, but help. I can imagine another person sending me something and say, you know what, I have somebody. Those are the things that, for me, as to be very honest and practical, apart from my faith in God, will allow me not give up. So I think it's important that we must have a connection to someone that is higher than us, because it's that, first of all, ultimately, that thing that can help bring us from the despair of this, that person that can open a little light at the end of the tunnel that tells you that this thing would end in praise. That is the first thing. Then all the other people, your support network that helps you, encourages you, pushes you on, gives you various what ray of hope, that just allows you to say, you know what, this can happen. But it honestly, first of all, starts with your faith in God. I think that's the only thing that can, first of all, bring you out from a place of grief.
Thank you so much. Let me just quickly ask Olushola Olumide, and then I'm coming back to Fini. So now Titi has raised the concern of faith, or the issue of faith. How do we use faith as an anchor? How can people who go through this feeling, what are those rudiments of faith that can be explored? Olushola, please.
Please, the question again, I didn't hear you well.
Like the place of faith in all this, how can that be explored? Some people know, okay, yes, you need to turn to faith, you need to turn to your faith, anchor your belief in God. How can they navigate faith when they are feeling like giving up?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Well, because the way we are created as human, we are not only physical being or social being, we are equally spiritual being. So the issue of faith is equally important, and I think it goes a long way. Considering the concept of positive psychology, which is a new field that is coming up lately, if you look at all that is being addressed as far as positive psychology is concerned, you can see it being enshrined in the word faith. Yes, feeling good, optimism, resilience, love, care, being kind, all these things, if you look at it, we may not call it faith in the research field, in the physical or secular space, but I tell you, we can't dissociate faith from those things. So it goes along with number one, have faith in yourself, and have faith in God. Then, like Titi just said, there is somebody higher. Maybe it could be a friend, it could be your parent, it could be your spouse, it could be a boss. And I tell you, looking up to such people, and maybe at times the people too should learn to share their own mistakes and be vulnerable with us.
So much. Let me now ask Fee. Okay. But is this still speaking? I think the network is cracking. Can you hear Hello, hear me, Fee?
I can hear you now. I wasn't hearing you before.
Oh, okay. I think we have connectivity issues. So, Fee, over to you now. Um, you, you've heard everyone's comments, you've heard everyone's feedback, and even to apply to ourselves, right? Fortify ourselves. How do we get ready? You know, to deal with situations that would prevent us getting.
Okay. I'm not sure if you're still talking or if the network is really glitching.
Brink of giving up.
I could try to put together what you said. I didn't hear it in a in a continuous stretch. But what I get is, how do we show up ourselves for that period when we get to the point of wanting to give up? And I'll say that at this point in time, we're talking to people who are adults, we're talking to people who are already grown, um, who have had a background and an upbringing that many of the things that, or many of the skills that we need to help us through those times uh, when we have a downtime are really not, like, we didn't grow up with them. So we have become adults and learning that, oh, there's a need for me to be to be there's a need for me to be resilient. There's a need for me to not to try to think of an alternative. There's a need for me to have a carpe diem mindset and all of that. So it's important for us to look at ourselves, and in that magazine that says "Man, know yourself." It's essential for us to know ourselves and know this is where my shortcomings are. It's not something that you're discussing with somebody else. You're talking with yourself and saying, this is where my shortcomings are. These are the things I know that if it happens, I don't have the strength to carry myself through this. What do I need to be able to withstand times when things are not at the topmost shape, and then we begin to reinforce ourselves first, because yes, there are certain things that, apart from people who are very, very attuned to speaking up on, as something happens, they don't know how to keep quiet about it. They will rather say it out than sit on it and let it fester. Many of us are not like that. So the first port of call is you as the person. So I would implore that we find that strength first of all to say, oh, okay, at first impact, what ensures that I don't fall off? What ensures that I can even draw up and muster the strength and the courage to talk to somebody? That is what I would say we should show up on. And then as a society, we keep talking about this thing about the society is this, we paint a picture, but the society is you and I. So while we do things, while we want to show, we want to tell our testimonies and tell how good God has been to us, we also need to put the other person, let's be considerate of each other. So meeting somebody after a long time, you have gained some weight, is not a form of greeting, please. Whether they have gained weight or not is not your business. You don't know what they are going through. You don't know whether they're on medication that is causing them to gain weight. You don't know whether it's even a personal decision. So we need to watch some of these things. Sometimes we say it's out of a place of concern, but some concerns are misguided. So yes, show up on your first port of impact, and then let's be considerate of the other person's emotions and feelings. Thank you.
Dr. Mortal, I saying a great movie to watch or to see is what it looks like. Okay, Men of Honor, yeah. Men of Honor. If you have the opportunity to see that movie, I don't know if it's on Netflix. Dr. Motola, please let us know. Men of Honor is
I'm
a
not
recommendation.
sure if it's on Netflix, but even check on YouTube. You might get it for free there too, as well. But it's a really, really good movie to like. Yes, the definition of not giving up despite everything. There's so many lessons to watch.
I
To learn
remember,
from it.
yeah, thanks. I remember watching Facing the Giants, and it was one
Hello, you're frozen.
Easter period. I went. I was invited for something, and I just went. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes, yes, it's now better. So you're saying you
I
watched
said I
Facing the
watched.
Giant.
I saw the movie Facing the Giants, and yes, I was like a celebrity in the room, but I didn't know when I reflected, and I was stressed up that period in my life. Um, myself, you know.
Hello, you were breaking. We couldn't hear the last part.
But to have another chance, especially your business. Okay, I said well, let's just let's end the show. I think the network really has been crappy. So, for those who would like to give themselves a chance, the Grand Development webinar is taking place Saturday. Tomorrow is your deadline to register. Please ensure that you register for the Grand Development webinar, and myself and Dr. Motola will be live on Zoom 4 to 6 Saturday evening. Thank you very much. We're going to have our payoff now as we sign off. After the count of 2. 1, 2, go.
It's always
It's
a great
always a
morning
great morning on the
on the
Good
Good
Always,
Morning
Morning
always a
Education Show.
Education
great morning
Show.
on a good morning education show.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good
Gochi,
day.
bye.
Bye.